Anthony, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
All good, man. Long time no speak. May 2021 is the last time we spoke.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while, man. So, I'm just going to explain the call for the YouTube audience. So, guys, this is Anthony. He's one of my clients from last year. Um, we had a chat, and so far he's been doing great from what he tells me. Just before we had a quick chat before the call started. So, what we're going to do today, Anthony is a success story. He's going to explain to everybody what happened, why he had a breakup, how was the recovery process, and what he's doing now. So Anthony, catch me up. What's been going on, man?
Yeah. So the brief background for everybody. So in February last year, my partner of almost 9 years came home one day and told me, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." Um, Remember that day very vividly.
Mm.
And then just everything changed. I just sat there, shut down, and said, "Okay," and then that was it. Discussions afterwards, just things weren't working anymore. We'll go with that. And it was a real slog and struggle to get through those early dark days. But
Yeah, yeah. I remember from our first conversation, I think there was a little bit of avoidance going on from your part, wasn't there? Like not actually responding to her words, saying "I'm not in, I love you, but I'm not in love with you." But I think that kind of was a bit of a should we say a point of contention between the both of you because there was zero reaction there, if I remember correctly.
that was it. I basically just went, okay. She went to pack a bag, and I went back to my YouTube video because just to
Yeah. Wow.
process. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that was it. But then looking back at the relationship, there was a lot of me shutting down my emotions, not dealing with something, not wanting to cause conflict. I
Mm,
now, identified that as something that I shouldn't have been doing. I should put myself first and
absolutely.
take a claim for
Uh,
what I would like.
yeah, that's a really interesting point because I think that's lost on a lot of people, isn't it? In relationships, it's like if I don't comply with everything my partner does, then I'm going to lose them. When in fact, it's actually the opposite, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
right,
it
okay,
doesn't work.
I need to put my needs, I need to put my needs first, establish boundaries, which is totally okay, and hopefully the other person's going to respect your boundaries, you respect them, and you have a happy relationship and make beautiful babies. That's the whole idea, really.
Yeah, that's it. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. You're gonna have those difficult situations, and you just have to, talk and walk through them like adults and try and figure it out. Not do what I did and just pander and say yes to things and not deal with things I wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you say that was the main cause of the breakup?
I'm still not 100% on the main cause of the breakup, but I know that was something I did from the beginning. I took a back seat, and it's something I don't intend to do going forward. I know it
Mm.
didn't help the situation, and the fact that when it came to the breakup, I did it again. Then I didn't even cry until she'd left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bit of a delayed shock going on there. But I also remember you you telling me that you was having some family issues with your mum and your brothers and everything around that time. Has that all been sort of sorted out now? How's things with the family?
yeah. Just that. So at the time, I hadn't spoke to my mum or seen my two younger brothers for going on 2 years after a ridiculous family argument. A few weeks after the whole breakup, I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. I reached out to my mum, and she just acted like nothing had happened with
Mm,
between us. And ever since then, it's been brilliant. I see my brothers all the time. I've got those relationships back.
amazing.
That's been brilliant.
I'm so happy to hear that, man. Honestly, I've literally got a smile ear to ear at the moment. That is so nice. That is so nice to hear, because I think when we do go through breakups, we think and it's understandable. We in our little corner of the world, our little corner of the universe, we think that's it, it's over.
Yeah,
But as I've said so many times, it can be a beautiful thing if we let it be. You can establish new relationships and everything like that. So, if you could just like explain the process that you've gone through, like from that initial shock, horror, heartbreak,
hmm
and actually before we go any further, because I know people are gonna be dying to know this. have you had any interaction with your ex since she reached out at all?
Yes, so we've had several interactions, and I've reacted the same way. So she's approached me, and I've just responded in kind, and that's it. She my field is IT, so a few weeks, well, 2 months ago, she had an IT problem. She reached out and asked me for assistance with it, and I did think in my head, really, but I responded, I gave a bit of advice, and then I stepped away, just to. There's no point in having the conflict. Just move along.
Awesome. And that's the thing. So just for the audience here, that's a really key thing there, and that was such a mature response from you, Anthony, because I think a lot of people misunderstand no contact a lot of times, like no contact is no contact. Well, yes and no. I mean, it really does come down to how would it affect your mental health. But if you got to a place where you're like, well, look, I can respond to this IT question and okay, I can go about my day and just step back, that has shown, like, from your perspective, a real level of growth. And that's what it's all about. And that is like the perfect response.
And then
in
other interactions we had as well, she got very emotional for various reasons.
Really?
I mean, initial divorce questions and everything like that, she was very emotional, and there's a few points she started raising her voice on the phone, and it was just, I just said, you need to stop. There is no need to raise your voice here at the minute. And usually that would have been a massive argument. We would have, don't tell me what to do. Instead, it was just silence for a couple of minutes. She composed herself, and then we continued to have a conversation.
Wow.
It could very easily have blown up, and I could have retaliated back, but I'm like, it's not going to get me anywhere now. I just need to be sweet, get this over with.
Absolutely, staying on your center at all times is so important during these times. And regardless of how we feel on the inside, we could be dying on the inside, but how we respond is a choice at the end of the day. And I think it's everybody's superhuman power to have that awareness of like, okay, look, I feel shit right now, but I will respond maturely because that's the best thing to do for the situation right now. So, man, you should be proud of yourself for that. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That really is amazing. So did she ever approach the subject of a reconciliation, or was it just business and divorce talks, that kind of thing?
Business and divorce talk, we've never had that conversation, and at this point now, I don't want to have that conversation. I would have wanted it at the beginning. That's all I wanted. That's all what I don't want anymore now. That was our time together. That's over now. That was my 20s. And now I'm moving on to the next stage in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head there. That relationship taught you about everything that you don't want from a relationship.
Yeah,
and that's and whilst I remember in our first conversation, I kept you accountable on quite a few things. I said, like, okay, look, you need to work on your communication skills. You need to work on the avoidance. Try and patch things up with your family and everything. And it's so nice to know that you've kept yourself accountable. You say, okay, yeah, look, I messed up as well. It's not just my ex's fault. And this is true in like 95% of the cases, unless there's been some kind of cheating or abuse going on. There's blame on both. Not blame. Let's not say blame. There's responsibility on both sides.
Definitely.
Yeah, and no doubt you're going to carry these lessons into your next relationship, whoever that may be with, and you got all this experience to fall back on. So this is why I think everybody listening now should take comfort in the fact that that breakup, although you didn't want it at the time, and you probably would have given your left arm to just have her back. You look back on it now, I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm actually far happier. That had to happen, kind of thing.
Yeah, it had to happen. It was. Life was stagnant at the time. I do think we'd run our course now, looking back, and I've moved on now. I've done other things. Life has been more interesting and exciting, and my attitude and everything has changed. I'm a bit more of, no, I want that. I'm not going to take a back seat in whatever it is. That's definitely been a big help, recognizing that.
Cool, man. And how's that like, what are the tangible differences that you've got from putting your needs first? So like, what's been happening? What have you been getting that you didn't get before?
Basically what I'd want, instead of just sat there quietly going, oh, I'd really like it this way, or building up resentment towards another person. I'm just going, just approach it. You don't have to shout or be aggressive. Just go, I'd prefer if we did it this way.
Mm,
And usually it's like, okay, or there's a little discussion, and then you move forward with it. It's definitely helped me professionally as well. I'm a different person I was there. I was very fly off the handle, after
mm.
build up and build up and build up. There's none of that anymore. It is very, I will approach things as soon as possible and try and get them addressed.
Yeah, I think, yeah, if I remember correctly, I think I might have said, I'm trying to go back to the deepest recesses of my brain here. I think I might have said something along the lines last year, is that if you let that build and build and build and it explodes and everybody thinks you're the dickhead,
Yeah.
rather than just, right, okay, I don't really agree with this, I'm just going to say it now. And it's an important lesson for everyone listening. That's how it should work in relationships as well, is
Yeah.
like not throwing yourself on your sword just to keep the other person happy because they might have an adverse reaction. At the end of the day, their reaction is going to be their reaction. You might as well say what you need to say, get your needs met, get your communication across, and hopefully they will respond. And it's slightly different in relationships because there's a lot of emotion there, but I definitely think work, family, friends and stuff like that, you establish boundaries and they respect it, it typically leads to much better things, man. So it's just amazing. It's just, I mean, look at what, like, it's been over a year. Look at the difference.
I know, it's like night and day. I can't believe
Yeah,
it.
you are a different person. You sound completely different. You really do.
Well, the therapy helped as well. That was something you spearheaded in our meetings, and I
I
finally went for it, and it is life changing. It was brilliant. I'm so glad I did that.
Cool, man. Do you want to just go into? I mean, you don't have to give any details, but like maybe just talk about the process because I think
Yeah.
therapy is a big thing for most people, and we neglect that side of ourselves. We're so quick to pop a pill or just do
Hmm.
something stupid, or like we're very good at going to the gym, looking at the physical side, but nobody exercises the mental side. So you want to just maybe talk about that and how that's helped you through the breakup?
Yeah. Again, I was one of those people that bottled everything up and kept everything in. And if you were still working on yourself to try and approach people to address your issues, just talking to somebody that has no skin in the game, just the therapist, just you and that person, and you
Mm,
just let it all out. The first therapy session, I've never felt like that in my life. I was so
wow.
emotionally drained. I just felt
Yeah.
like, crap. It was awful. But then after that, it got better and better. I mean, I couldn't get out of bed the next day.
Yeah.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It does that, man. I have to take a nap after every therapy session I do.
Yeah.
I'm fucked after it. It's really exhausting, but it's like going to the gym.
Hmm.
You take the pain in the gym and to feel better tomorrow. And it's like, look, you're gonna have to take the pain in the therapy session, and therapists have got a way of questioning you that uncovers things that you never knew that you were suppressing. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, I did have problems in my childhood that I never knew about, and that's why I'm having problems in my current day relationships. Yeah, it's mental, but yeah, I'm glad that's doing it for you, mate. Are you still doing therapy? Is it still an ongoing thing, therapy?
We've stopped now. So I did about 10 sessions, and
Mm,
she was like, we can leave it there for now, but my door is
yeah,
always open. And
yeah,
that's been good. And yeah, I feel like I've been fine, yeah. And other people have said they've noticed a difference. I mean, I didn't tell a lot of people I was doing it, just a few key people, because I get that there's the whole stigma, macho man, and all that. But I do recommend it for anybody, especially if you're going through a breakup. Now is the time to
yeah.
rebuild yourself better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only thing I would say, like, therapy can be a little bit of it, a bit expensive. So, one
Yeah.
thing I would say to anybody that's listening, there are cheaper ways of doing it. There's a website called BetterHelp, which typically does much cheaper rates. And if anybody's here in the UK, you can get therapy through the national health system as well. It might take a little bit longer to get through the system, but there are means and ways. And I would say also just talking to friends as well and just say, look, I don't feel right at the moment. I don't feel okay. I just need you to, I don't need advice. I just need you to listen. And I think that's a big thing that people don't do, is just to say to their friends, like, I don't need your advice. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I just need you to listen. I just need to cry. Yeah, maybe a little bit more difficult for men, I would say. Especially, I'd say there's probably definitely a big stigma in the UK about mental health still. I think it's getting better. I think it is getting better, but
yeah,
it's
I agree.
Still a big stigma out there, man. But I think there's power in vulnerability, isn't there? It's to say, right, okay, yeah, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm not so good at, but I'm working on it. I think the key thing here is that you've taken full responsibility for your share in the breakup. Because I think what can happen with a Dumpee's mentality, and I've certainly been there, where you start to blame yourself because you've been dumped. So obviously, well, they've dumped me. They must see something wrong in everything that I do, and they must have all the power. So we take all that on, and we blame ourselves, but at the same time, don't keep ourselves accountable. Which is a bit of a weird dynamic. So how did you find, when you like took responsibility for your contribution to the breakup? How did that feel?
At certain points in the therapy sessions, and then just thinking about myself, every now and then it was like light bulb moments, and you're just like, okay, that makes sense now why that didn't work, and bits like that all fell into place, and it felt freeing. I don't hate my ex. I don't dislike my ex. I wish her well. Just separate ways now. Yeah. Whereas before, you go through those emotions. How can you do this to me? And you go through all that. And yeah, it is all, I'm innocent in all this.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And do you have, I mean, I know I tell everybody, look, don't have any information on your ex, but do you have any update on her at all? I mean, like, so obviously she's reached out. Has she given you any, I'm being really nosy here, by the way.
No, go for it.
It's not a question I typically ask, but I'm getting really into this conversation. So, so yeah, is there any update on her?
So originally, when I did the whole stalker thing, I would check last time they were on WhatsApp and check activity on the watch. And at a certain point, she's like, "What are you doing?" So I moved off the watch. At the beginning of the year, I removed her and her whole family off Facebook. We weren't interacting. She was just there. I don't post a lot on there anyway, so it's not like I was doing anything. And I removed them. And just like a few hours after I removed, I did get an angry message going, "Well, if you're going to remove me, can you remove all my family?" And I just replied back, "I believe I did." And she put, "Okay." So that was it.
Wow.
Yeah,
protesting behavior there, big time. Wow.
Straight away, yeah, she said that, and I was like, "I believe I did." I missed one by accident, and I'm like, "Okay, I removed him." But then there's been other situations where her family members have liked things that I've done. Like I went to London on a trip, and her gran liked it. She shouted at her gran for liking my status, and she said, "Yeah," and she goes, "You need to pick a side."
What?
This is what she said to her. So my gran already deleted me. And I'm like, I know why she deleted me, because she didn't want to have friction with her granddaughter. That's fine. So yeah, and they'd all message me privately in WhatsApp saying, "Oh, we're all still here for you. We're so sorry." Very nice. But I would never tell her that.
That's crazy that you say that, because a similar thing happened to me with my ex.
Yeah.
Right, and I've still some of her family members still follow me on Instagram, and I don't think there's anybody on Facebook. I don't really check them much anyway. But some of like our old auntie, like a really old aunties, like follow me and stuff like that. But I mean, fortunately, my ex never said anything about that. I think we've kind of like, well, look, I really wouldn't give a shit if any of my family was still friends with her, because I see that as a separate friendship or relationship, because you can form different bonds with different parts of that family.
Yeah.
And that's a separate entity altogether, so it's, I think that's given you quite a true insight into your ex's character, that, wow, like she's the one that did all the dumping, and she's obviously holding quite a lot of resentment there, because someone that's, let's say, got their shit together wouldn't even give that a second thought. So I'm too busy for this. I'm not even asked.
I was in work at the beginning of my new job, because all that happened as well. And I just looked at it and I laughed. I'm like, really, this? And yeah, I just thought, no, fresh slate, new year, I will do it now. I was waiting to do it, just not to rock the boat while we were towards the end of a divorce. But I thought, no, I want it done, and then I did it. So
wow, has the divorce gone through?
I'm just waiting on the courts to like approve the final thing, and then that is it.
Yeah, wow. Has it been quite amicable with like the negotiations over the divorce and everything?
Yes, so far.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
So
been
far.
very. Yeah, I mean, I paid for everything. I've spent more on the divorce than the wedding, which is quite funny.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was a small thing. Yeah, we just went and did it. But yeah, so everybody think before you do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's. I mean, people can be married for 30 years and still get divorced. That can happen. Sometimes you just grow apart. Sometimes
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is the risk that we take. But I think, if we are prepared to love, we have to be prepared to get hurt at the same time. That's just the double-edged sword that comes with a relationship. So
Yeah.
So what have you been doing? Like, so transitioning from anxiety to feeling relief and getting over this. What have some of, I know you've already spoke about therapy and you've leveled up in your job, and congratulations, by the way. So what are some of the other things you've been doing that helped you from day one of the breakup to get you to where you are now?
The main thing for me was just trying to keep busy. Just whatever it was. I mean, looking back, it was quite frantic. Like I redecorated the flat. That was one weekend, just painted everything, blitzed it.
Yeah.
I got a dog.
Nice.
Because you just thought, oh, I'll get a dog, and then that is one of the best decisions I've ever made. He's a lovely little fella. I if it wouldn't have broke up, I wouldn't have him. So if anything, I'm very happy about that. And he gives me purpose. I've got to take him out for his business in the morning, take him for walks, which has been great as well. That stuff like that has helped.
That's really good, man. And that's the thing with dogs. They love you unconditionally. It doesn't matter what mood you're in. They're always happy to see you.
Yeah.
And they just make you feel better. When you're down, they'll just come up, lay next to you, give you a little lick, and and they just put a smile on your face, which is a good thing. So what about reestablishing connection with friends and doing more hobbies? Anything happen on that front?
Yeah. I was a walker. I walk more now, especially with a dog. I've ended up losing 2 stones so far this year. That's been
just for the non-British people here. 2 stone is like what? It's 14 pounds a stone. So it's 28 pounds.
Yeah,
no,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I've got my tracker up. Yeah,
yeah. So it's 28 pounds, which is about, what's that in kilos? Is that about
12? About
12 kilos?
Yeah,
about 12 kilos. So that is a tremendous amount of weight. That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, and that is just watching what you eat. I know alcohol and exercise. Yeah, that wasn't magic either, but that's helped. And friends, when everything happened, I knew who my friends were straight away. The ones that were there for me were there for me. They came, they were there anyway, but it was like, these really are my friends. It was that kind of moment, and it's been brilliant ever since. I've been there for them with their issues. It was just moments where they just were on the phone with me and they just listened to me. And
that's it.
Yeah, that's all I needed at the time. But no, they've helped. That was brilliant.
Yeah, and the ones that pretend to be your friends, off you fuck.
Yes. Oh, funny you say that. One came out the woodwork this week, actually, going, "Oh, I knew what happened, but I just didn't reach out." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, but these people did. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, do you know what? Right, that reminds me of a story that I had a very similar situation when I was about I was about 2-3 months into my breakup 2 years ago, and friends are obviously seeing like the changes on Facebook, pictures coming down. So a couple of people reached out here and there, and I was just telling them, I said, yeah, like me and Joanna broke up, blah blah blah, and one friend like reached out and said, oh, I'm so sorry, and didn't hear from her. Like, that was in July, and the next time I heard from her was January the following year.
Wow.
Right. And it was her reaching out to me, asking me for a favor. And the conversation I had with her before, she said, how are you? I said, oh, I'm really down. I just need someone to talk to. And I said, hey, are you available to meet up for a coffee? It'd be really good to catch up. Right. Because I just needed to be around people. I was just trying to feel my time, because we was in lockdown as well, so we were severely limited at the time. We couldn't really do much, so I was like kind of desperate to kind of just have some human contact. She didn't respond to that, and then come January, like 6 months later, oh, can you help me out with this? And by that time, I'd been doing all that work on myself. I've been learning how to set boundaries and stuff like that, and I basically told her to fuck off. Literally, I said, no,
Yeah.
that is not okay. I'm not doing you a favor. I was absolutely emotionally on my knees, and I just needed you to be there for me. And the shit she came out with, oh, it just got really busy. I didn't think you'd want to talk about it. I was like, I directly asked you to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were right there. She's just an idiot.
Exactly. And but like you said, it's so nice when you do that work on yourself and you say, right, you know what? I'd rather have 2 or 3 real high quality people in my life than having 10 shitty ones. And that's the thing with boundaries. Yeah, the amount of people around you will reduce quite significantly, but the people that are around are far higher quality.
Yeah.
And that arches back to who we choose as partners as well, because that will filter into your relationships, and you'll start screening that out, especially when you go on dates and stuff like that. You'll start screening all that shit out, and like, okay, I know where the land is a little bit more now. So how's that? Is it been full on single, or has it been any dates?
Yeah, dates, and yeah, again, there isn't a rush into that part of it. Yeah, so it was just very see how it goes. I've got enough going on at the minute just to crack on with myself, and if
That's
there was
amazing,
anything out of respect, I would keep it quiet until after I was divorced.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I totally agree that I think we can be very, very eager to get into new relationships because it will band-aid the pain that we're currently in. But I've been actually telling people recently, because like there's a lot of generic advice out there. I'll stay single for 3 months, stay single for 6 months. I'm actually telling people now, look, stay single for a year. Go away and have the best time of your life. Go and do some crazy shit. Do whatever you got to do. Go and climb mountains. Take up new hobbies. Go and date new people. Whatever you got to do, but stay single. And like for me, I kind of had a bit of an epiphany a few months back that relationships should be the most inconvenient thing in the world. And what I mean by that is that your single life should be so good that it's actually going to be inconvenient for you for a new person to come along and disrupt that. So you're in a position of saying, hey, okay, I like you, but convince me not to be single, because you have to bring something to the table now that's even better than the life that I've got now.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it should be. And when you can do that, it's like right now you're inviting people to join your journey. It's like, right, okay, I've got a great life over here, and if you want to come and join me, you're more than welcome. But there are some ground rules that I want to set. I want you to respect them. I'm going to respect your ground rules as well, and that's it, man. It's so much better.
No, it definitely is, and I've had the situations where it wasn't like that. It wasn't an inconvenience. It was the center of the universe, and it shouldn't be. It should just be one part of you. Yeah.
I mean, it's a very important part of you, absolutely, and it should be maybe the best part. It should be the icing and the cherry on the cake, but it's not the whole cake. It's not the whole cake.
Yeah.
You know, it really isn't, man. So it's just really, I have to admit, it's just really refreshing to hear this kind of story. It really is.
It's worked out. There was just a lot of change. I mean, I'd work changes as well. Everyone but me was made redundant at my other company. There was a position for me, but just everybody I'd worked with for 5 years was gone. And I'm like, wow. I can't handle this and that. What's going on? And then by chance, I was approached about a new role and said, are you interested in this? And I was like, it would be a step up from what I was doing then. And I'm like, yeah, we'll go for that. And I did it, nailed it. And I've been there 8 months. It's been brilliant.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, made new friends, get along with new people. My team is great, and just started a new hobby as well with one of them, which has helped.
What's the hobby?
Oh, proper nerd mode now. So it's called Star Wars Armada. So it's like a tabletop thing, and we
Yeah,
go to the game center.
yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with it. I've never played it. And hey, look, I'm a total nerd here, man. I'm nerd city here, so you nerd out, man. It's cool, but I think it's a good thing. Like, you can be unashamedly proud. Like, yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm what? If you don't like it, there's the door. Get out. Bye bye. Take care.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, there's no one. You know, we shouldn't put ourselves in a position of where we're ashamed of, like, admitting, like, okay, we enjoy doing something nerdy. Honestly, right, this is the crazy thing. And like, so I've started dating a girl. I'm in a relationship now. The last 2 months, I'm with someone. I'm with someone new now. And right, I found my, actually, she texted me one day, said, "Oh, have you seen Love Is Blind on Netflix?" And I went, "Oh no, I'm not into that shit," and stuff like that. And she went, "Oh look, just watch the first couple of episodes." And after like the second episode, I was hooked on this shit, right? And I was like, "Oh my," because it was so, I found it so cringy but fascinating at the same time. And she texted me, she said, "How you finding it?" I said, I hate myself right now because I'm loving this so much." Right. So so we both just like binge watch these episodes, and it's like, so yeah. And but then I actually found out something very interesting. So many other people like this show, and I highly recommend anyone watching it. Watch Love Is Blind on Netflix. Watch Love on the Spectrum, which is really fascinating. It's about autism, people with autism trying to find love, it's very interesting, but it's actually very heartbreaking at the same time, and also heartwarming. And also, I don't know if you're interested in this stuff, but you'll probably might find it a little bit fascinating given what you've gone through as well, because when you go through these kind of experiences, you can actually sit back and observe, and just like, you can watch the train wreck in front of you. You thought, right, okay, you've got 6 months and this is going in the shitter. You actually can predict this stuff. It's quite crazy. But I think the best one on Netflix is called The Ultimatum. Are you familiar with that at all?
No, I've not seen that. No, I will.
Right, so
I'll have a look, though.
Right, so basically what it is, right? All these not married couples, all these couples go onto this show, and the ultimatum they've got for their partners is like, look, we either get married or we break up. Right now, but what actually happens? They all swap partners with each other. So there's like, I think there's like 8 couples, right? They all choose another partner from another couple. They all go live with each other for a couple of weeks, and some of them get jiggy and all that. And then they have to decide if they want to go back to their original partner or go off with the new partner from the other couple. It's mental, but so entertaining. It's so entertaining. Yeah. So bit of a tangent there.
No, I got roped into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I was like, what is this? And then that was it. Then I'm like, oh yeah, go Lisa Vanderpump. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So it's a guilty pleasure, man. Yeah. So, but what about the physical health and everything? Have you've been focused, done all the therapy, which is amazing. You staying physically fit as well?
Yeah, definitely. I struggled after the breakup with, I used to be very energetic. It'd take, as soon as my alarm went off in the morning, I'd be up, off I'd go. And after the breakup, I just didn't have drive anymore, no drive. And then that was the things I went to the therapist with, saying, I don't have my oomph anymore. And I have it back now. One alarm, I get up, off I go. Health-wise, yeah, I've had the weight loss. I do a bit of working out. I just, high energy. That's all it is. It's just high energy. I'm just there. I'm not a slob. So
that's good. That's good, man.
Yeah.
So I know this question. People are going to leave this in the comments if I don't ask the question. How long did it take for you to get over your ex?
That's a good question. We broke up in the February, and I think
2021, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2021. Yeah. We've been together nearly 9 years. We've been married for a year. Yeah, a year and a week marriage we lasted together. I'd probably say November, looking back, was when there was just nothing. I mean, it was our anniversary last month, and I was too busy with life. And then my mum rang me and she goes, "Oh, how are you doing today, son?" I'm like, "I'm fine. Why?" And she goes, "Well, it's the day." I'm like, "Oh, is it? I completely forgot." And she goes, "Oh, fine.
Wow.
I've been worrying all day for you and you didn't even notice." And I'm like, "Yeah. That's how well it's gone."
That's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, the November. Yeah, that was it. That it was. I mean, I would have done anything at first. Yeah, I
Mm.
did the whole 30 days. She'll be back. I did all that,
Yeah,
counting it on
yeah.
the fridge. I've done it all. I've watched all of them, and yeah, it was. It got to that point where it just, yeah, just stopped thinking and just moved on. And then when it became to the
Yeah.
May, and I was like, oh yeah, it would have been 10 years together. Didn't even notice.
Wow, man, that's an amazing turnaround. It's really quick. I typically find most people probably take about double that amount of time, especially when it's been a long relationship. Some people, I mean, everyone's different. Some people can, maybe they already emotionally checked out about 6 months before the breakup actually happened, and so they kind of already started the process. That can happen. I think for me to be, just to compare, like for me, I would say it was almost a complete 2 years. But I had the other challenge of that I formed a very strong bond with her daughter, and I was a father to
Yeah,
that daughter. Yeah, and that was probably the hardest thing ever. But you think about the daughter, you think about the mother. They come as one package, kind of thing. So that was the biggest challenge. But I do remember something similar to me happening. It was probably, I'd say, yeah, it was probably about within the first year. Is that her birthday was coming up and I completely forgot about it. The anniversary of the breakup was coming up and I completely forgot about it. The anniversary when we got together was coming up and I completely forgot about it. Again, just being too busy with life, and I think that's probably a good indicator of when you can say, right, I'm getting there, because like I no doubt thoughts of your ex still come up sometimes. Like you might see a show on TV, a song, a smell, or whatever, and it just triggers a memory. And you spent almost 10 years together. So does that does that still come up? Do you still get like little flashes of memory and stuff like that?
yeah, and I think, and I already have, but I'll be honest with everybody. I've not seen her face to face since August,
Mm.
and when I did see her, it hurt just seeing her. I mean, it's like she shrunk as a person. I can't really describe. She just looks smaller than
You
I
took her.
imagined.
You took her off the pedestal. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
she just
Yeah,
looks small, and I'm like,
yeah.
look at you. But I've not. So I don't know how I would feel seeing her again. I don't know.
Mm.
It may all flood back to me, and I may have I would say slight relapse. I don't think I'd want to get back with her, but I think the pain would come back. So I've not
Yeah.
seen her since then, and I think that's helped. And we've had very limited communication. I mean, I used to check on how long it'd been since we last spoke. Now I
Yeah.
don't care.
Okay, you
Yeah,
hear that, guy? In other words, guys, no contact,
yeah,
because yeah, that absolutely can trigger a relapse of feeling and pain
yeah,
and stuff like that. And I dare say, I'll probably say that's true for most people. Even when you're in a new loving committed relationship and you see your ex, it will trigger something. It will trigger, oh shit, that's shocking. Just that pulse, that shock of
yeah,
anxiety will just run through you for no reason at all. And because you did spend a significant amount of time with that person, you shared all your inner thoughts and feelings with that person. So I think that's an important lesson to understand for everybody, is that it's okay to still think about them. It's okay to say, right, I'm not angry. I still think they're a good person, but the book is closed. And if I do see them, yeah, maybe it does trigger an emotion, but I'll say hello, I'll be polite, and I'll go about my day. And I think that's the lesson, really. So
yeah.
do you think, I mean, you haven't really had the opportunity to have full no contact because you've had to do the divorce settlement and
Yeah.
everything like that. So how's that been navigating, should we call it smart contact, that you've had to talk about business? How's that been when those kind of conversations come up?
At first, it was tricky, and that's where we had a few disagreements on phone calls about the best path to take. But then afterwards, when I got a solicitor, she chose not to have one, and we've gone forward with that. It's just been WhatsApp conversations, strictly business from my part. Have you had that email? Yes, great.
Mm.
Can you sign that document? It's been very amicable, and it's been flowing like that, and it's been good. There was a slight delay at one point, where she took a month to sign a document, because she had COVID, during that, and she missed the email as well. Major irritation with that, with it being delayed, but kept it in, kept it calm, said, "Have you managed to sign it yet? Let me know." And we got through it. So the rage was inside.
Yeah, but there's always a better way of dealing with that, and I think that's also another key lesson is like it's okay to feel bad, it's okay to feel angry, it's okay to feel sad or whatever you're feeling. It's okay. It's also important not to suppress it too much because again, like you alluded to earlier, where you keep it in and bang. But going to therapy, meditation, journaling, exercise, talking to friends, that's just another way of getting it out. And it's just like, I'm just not gonna let it out in front of the ex. That's the one person I won't let it out in front of, because now you're operating from a position of strength, you're operating from a position of maturity, and say, right, okay, look, I can do this. I've grown, and even if you ask for me back now, I don't think I would take you back, kind of thing, because I've done all this work. What have you done?
Yeah, that's it. I would dread. I dread that day of now, and I can't believe I'm saying that, of reaching out to me and saying that, because I don't want to go back, but then I don't want it to ruin what I'm working towards at the minute. Yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen now. Yeah, just we're separate ways now.
But it's a nice problem to have, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, look at me moaning.
Yeah, exactly. You've done so much. You've done so much work on yourself. It's like, look, I can take it or leave it. I'm good. I don't need you, and that's another important thing. Is that it's not a need. It's a want, and we can choose not to want it.
Yeah, well, she doesn't like dogs, so she'd lose because Rex isn't going anywhere.
Matt, you always choose the dog.
Definitely.
Always choose the dog. It's like, so now when you start dating, it's like, listen, it's me and the dog. We come as one. If you love me, you got to love the dog, and that's that, man. And that's that's a cool thing. So what are the plans for the foreseeable future? What have you got on the horizon?
I've finally took the plunge and I'm getting a house.
Well done.
Currently still in the flat that we both moved into together 8 years ago. It's just, I don't like being in this flat now just because of the memories.
I get that. Yeah, I can understand that.
It's not nice sometimes and on your own, but I want to move. So it's being built. As we speak, but it's being built, and I can't wait to have my first house and crack on. It's a moving away from the area I'm in as well, so complete fresh start there, which I'm looking forward to. So.
Oh man, this is honestly a total reversal to the guy I spoke to over a year ago. Total.
He was a
reversal.
Mess.
I mean, yes and no. I think, like, typically speaking, when someone reaches out to me for a coaching session, 9 times out of 10, they're at the stage of where they are receptive to the advice that's coming back. And I mean, look, you know me in this way that I'm just going to tell you the truth, like compassionately. So, okay, look, I hear you, but come on, this is bullshit. You know what you did. You know what you got to do. Let's just get you to where you need to be. And so. And then you've got some other people that are not quite ready to receive the information. But I think that's been born out of, like, you was at the stage like, look, I just don't want to feel this way anymore. So please, I just need to be pointed in the right direction. And I think that's the whole point behind it should be the whole point behind any information on YouTube, not because there are so many channels of creators that are like, oh yeah, take this quiz and do this X back program, and it's like, well, fuck off. No, let me work on me, and it's and let's evolve, man. Let's get to it. So I definitely think that you naturally got to that point where, right, okay, I'm receptive to that information. So you did all that on your own. You should be proud of that. And you've done all this stuff on your own as well. And that's the change. And that's the honestly, And what how many calls did we have? We only had the one call, wasn't it?
We had two. We had
Did we have
two.
to? Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. We did. We have two. So my bad. Yeah,
And
sorry.
all I wanted in those whole conversations was at the time you to tell me she's gonna come back. She's gonna come back. And you didn't. And you said, no, focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. And I'm glad I focused on myself.
Yeah, I'm glad to, man. And I know, listen to anybody else that's listening, I know it's hard to hear that shit. Like, look, I don't think they're gonna come back. Or if they did come back, what's that gonna look like?
Yeah.
You know, because is it gonna look like the future that you actually want, or you just want them back because your anxiety is so high that you will take anything to actually get rid of it? So I kind of use the analogy of, like, imagine that you've been in pain for 10 years and I come along and I offer you a pill. Look, this is going to take all of your pain away, but only for 3 days. And then after that 3 days, the pain will be 10 times worse than it was before. So it's like, but you can abstain, not take the pill, and naturally get better and the pain will gradually go away, or take the pill. In other words, and the pill in this case is breaking no contacts, reaching out just to soothe the anxiety, and you get rejected again, or they do come back and they're still a dickhead. Nothing's changed, because dumpers very, very rarely do any work on themselves, because they very rarely see anything wrong in what they've actually done. And that's the advantage of being the dumpee, is that you're forced to do this shit. You're forced to work on it. You're forced to look at it, right, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board, and I need to just strip me down and rediscover me and find out what I'm doing wrong, because I want healthy relationships, and most importantly, I don't want to feel like this anymore. That's what it comes down to, man. And so you took you delayed gratification, and you took the hard bumpy route, but look at the rewards. Look at the rewards. Look at what you're doing now. That's amazing.
I know she is not changed. She's not. Like, Jack, from everything I've heard and everything, there's been no progress there, and it's just if you to come back tomorrow. So what have you been up to? Wouldn't have been a lot. It wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And I go, what have I been up to? Well, and I could keep listing it. It's been a wild year.
Yeah, it's like, how long have you got to listen to me? Because I'm having the time of my life.
Oh, and one of the things, I when a gran like my status when I was in London, she was at a phone call with her. She's like, "Who did you go to London with?" And I'm like, "I'm not telling you. It's got nothing to do with you anymore." She goes, just let me know. I'm dying to know. It was rapid. She's like, "I've been dying to know all weekend. Who have you been to London with?" I go, "It's got nothing to do with you anymore. Just move on." And she said, "Well, would you care if I went to London with someone?" And I went, "No." And she went, "Oh, that's nice." I'm like, this is where we were.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, okay, you no longer have that privilege.
Yeah, that's it.
You dump me at the end of the day. You no longer have that privilege now. And see, this is the complete reversal now. This is like, and it's not, I think a lot of people say, "Oh, you're doing no contact and manipulate." It's nothing to do with manipulation. I mean, yeah, that can be a bit of a side effect, I would admit. And another side effect can be, all right, maybe they come back. But the best side effect is that you get you back. No matter what happens, you always get you back if you do the work. And now it's proven the point of what we always say, like the dumper starts off in relief, the dumpee's in anxiety, and you over time swap ends. You're massively in relief now. And like, right, okay, I've got to relief now, but I'm going beyond relief now. I'm going into happiness now. I'm going into, this is my life and I'm going to have a great life. Right. And, but it's a long and bumpy road. There's no two ways about that. There are good days, there are bad days. And just to give an example of, like, for me, I went through multiple breakup relapses. You know, my breakup was a bit weird. I actually, first 6 months, I didn't feel much. I was actually quite okay with it the first 6 months. But the mistake I made, I kept myself so busy, I unknowingly suppressed how I felt. And then 6 months came along, and I was even like dating someone very temporarily around that time. And oh my God, did it hit me, man? Did the full impact of the breakup hit me? And that's when it really started for me. And so maybe the reason it took me so long to get over it is because I delayed it by 6 months. So while keeping ourselves busy and doing all these wonderful things is a great thing, we still have to feel our feelings, we still have to let it out and not run away from it. And I think you found a good balance there.
But for me though, at the beginning, I didn't feel, I was just coming to the tail end of a project at work, so there wasn't as much work to focus on as I used to have. So that died off for me, and I had to face it quickly and alone in the flat. And yeah, I tried to keep myself busy, but I just couldn't. I remember that first Saturday, it was still locked down, so I couldn't see anybody. I went to work for a couple of hours just to keep myself busy. And I came home and it was about 3 o'clock and I just broke down. I was in bits and I'm like, no, you've got to get through this. I put one of my favorite TV shows on the television and I started to box her stuff because it was in my face. And I was like, no, it has to go. And it's like I've covered her bookcase with wrapping paper just so I didn't have to look at her stuff. And it just looked like a massive present in the living room. It's hilarious. Still got the picture. It's bubble balloons on it and everything. And I just had to cover it and keep myself busy. And then when I got to about 8 o'clock at night on the Saturday, I'm like, you did it. Well done.
Yeah.
But it was hard.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And I bet there's probably a few times you wanted to reach out as well, just saying like, can we work this out? Can we do this? And did you, I don't know if you did what I did, but there was so many times I had the message written out on my phone, ready to go. Like, and I was like, don't press it. Don't press it. Don't do it. I was like, literally sometimes for like an hour, just sitting there looking at my phone, got it all written out, overly emotional, overly explained, overly complicated, not taking any responsibility. You know, right, okay, if I send it, go on, just send it. No, if I send it, you're a dickhead, you know? And so it got to a point where I would send it to a safe person. I'd say to one of my good friends, hey man, look, I just need to send this. I don't need you to respond. I don't need your advice. I just need to send it. And that helped a lot. So did you ever get to that point where he's like, oh, like your finger was on the trigger?
I sat there and like would go to do it, but I didn't write anything out because I didn't know what I would say. But no, I've been in that situation where I was in the chat ready to go, looking at it, or just please message me. You know, that would go through your head. Please just acknowledge me. And it all went through that. Yeah.
Just trying to get that morsel of validation because we're struggling because at that time we're massively struggling to validate ourselves at that time, especially if if you've never learned to love and validate yourself. And I think I said in a video, maybe like 2 or 3 videos ago, where it's like, if you've only ever known how to love yourself at 20% and someone comes along and loves you at 30%, they give you that extra 10%, it's going to be like the best feeling in the world because you don't know any better. So it's like going to McDonald's all your life and thinking McDonald's is the best burger joint out there. Then someone takes you to Five Guys, you're like, oh my God, this is what a burger should taste like, you know? And then, but with that 30% analogy, there's still 70% left on the table. So when you do break up and they take their 10% away, there's an 80% deficit on the table that we don't know how to fill, that we don't know how to validate ourselves. And I like the work you've done on yourself now, and hopefully the next relationship you get into, that's your forever relationship and you never have to go through this again. But if you did, it will still suck and it will still hurt. But one, you know you can do it, you're going to be okay. And two, you know how to love the shit out of yourself. And that's the most important thing. It's like you know who you are.
That's it. No, I didn't love myself. I thought I didn't like myself. And in the therapy, I said I don't. And then going on about past history and family and everything. And there was I have issues with parents, but who doesn't? And there was a point where she goes, well, would you change it? I said, I wouldn't change it if I could, because I wouldn't be the person I am today. And then it just pinged and I went, does that mean I like myself? And she goes, I think it does.
Exactly.
And that was it then.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's important to know, like, a big part of loving ourselves is to understand that there are parts of ourselves that we don't love. And those are the places that we've got to give the most amount of love to. So look, there's no light without darkness. There's no up without down. We have to know what sadness feels like to know what happiness feels like, you know. So kind of what's happened, and it's a, Mark Manson's one of my favorite authors. He says this all the time about, and I think it's in the book. I think it is the book, The Subtle Art of Giving a Fuck, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I think it is in that book where it says about everyone has pain, but, excuse me, we have to find a way to upgrade the pain or upgrade the problem to better problems. Like, for example, if we don't have enough money, then the problem there is that, okay, we struggle to pay the bills and we struggle to put food on the table. Yeah. But even when we get more money, like, life is more comfortable, but with that comes better problems. Okay, right. Buying a house is a good example. You're about to go and do this wonderful thing, but your daily expenditure is going to go up significantly because you're investing in property.
Yes.
So you've got to make a sacrifice now. Okay, I can't go out as much and I can't do X, Y, and Z, that kind of thing. So, and that is very much a first world problem. So for everybody listening, is look, upgrade the problem, swap it out for a better problem, do the work now so you can have better problems tomorrow. And right now, you've got a lot of good problems.
Yeah,
and that's a big fucking improvement, and such a great place to be in, mate. You should be so proud of yourself.
No, I think I've done well, yeah, and I just would want to help others where I can. Going, no, I've gone through it. It was awful. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but it's just one of the things we have to go through. But you will get to the end of it, and you will be miles better for it. I'm a stronger person today than I was.
Here. Okay, man. So look, before we wrap this up, if you can give one piece of key advice for anyone that's listened and had to deal with a breakup, what would that be? What would that look like?
Focus on yourself. Rebuild yourself. Give yourself time. It's not gonna happen overnight. If you wake up then a few days after it's happened and you need that time to rest. You don't want to get out of bed bang on straight away. You need to self-help, heal, do it. I would never do it, and then when I did it, I felt better quicker.
Nice one, man. That's yeah, I couldn't really put that any better myself. And it's just, yeah, the message there. Love the shit out of you. Love the shit out of yourself. Love yourself unconditionally. That's the message, isn't it?
Yep, that's it. Do it.
Okay, cool, man. Anthony, I really appreciate your time, man. It's been really good to catch up, and thank you so much for and look, just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you're already smashing it, but you're gonna smash it even more. And yeah, man, just look, keep me updated. Drop me an email every now and then. Let me know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll do.
And yeah, man, thank you so much. All right, enjoy the rest of your day.
And you, thank you. Cheers, man.
Take care, man. Take care. Bye.